Yeah. So once again, team. So very good morning. And whereas in today's topic, we'll be going to teach and we'll be going to thought that what are the topics that we'll be going to cover in our course duration. So that is data science and AI. So as I discussed that we'll be going to cover topics like Python language uh, or Python tool. Okay. For it is a programming language and R language, SQL, statistics, linear algebra, data analysis, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing, and chatbot. And we'll discuss those in brief. What I will be going to thought. And yes, if you remember, where in yesterday class we discussed that what is data science. Okay, what is machine learning, what is Python. So I discussed that what means uh, whenever we are learning, whenever we are trying to learn anything new, we need to think three scenarios. What is it? Why we need to do this? And where we'll be going to implement this? These are the three techniques. These are the three W's, what it may be. So we need to think. Yesterday we thought what is data science exactly, and what are the topics that we are covering in data science. Now, today's class will be trying to discuss why we need to take data science and AI and why we need to cover these topics in the field of data science and AI. The very first one, where in yesterday class, I taught you about what is a data science. So as Surya mentioned, so as Ganesh has gave a small description of the what is a data science. Now there is a question that why you came for the data science and AI course. Just anyone, could you please? Why data science and
Sir, I thought it was a booming subject, and this is data mining is very important nowadays. So I interested on data science, sir. And AI also we use sir. Just AI is booming nowadays. So I interested in data science, sir.
yeah, so it's very valid point and very good point. So whereas yeah, today's class will be going to taught you why we need to take the data science something. So as I told you that we are having a plenty and large amount of data. Okay, so we are having a plenty and very large amount of data, and if we utilize the data in a proper way, even we can do miracles. Okay, that is the reason. If anyone asks why data science, why you are taking a data science course means, so in real time generations we are having a large amount of data. If we come up with the if you come up with the insights from the data, and if you use these insights for the business use case, we can get the profits. That is for the business use case, or that is for the industrial use case, whatever it may be. Okay, the very first reason is turning the data into decisions. Like as we are having as I told you, so like we are getting some millions of data from the platforms like social media, example like Instagram and LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it may be. So if you utilize the millions of data into a actionable insights or the decision making insights, then we can improve the business more, and we can hide the business so that we can get the profits. Okay, the industry get the profits, and similarly they can invest more and more into AI and field. And this is a circular process. Okay, so that is one point, turning the data into decisions, and coming with the like extracting the data and coming with the insights from the data, and using these insights for the business use case to increase the profits or what it may be. That is the very first one. And the second one also explores the grow of data. So as I told you now, from the different platforms, as we're getting a huge amount of data. Okay, so if you utilize the data into in a proper way, so we can do miracles, whatever it may be. And high business impact. So if you remember, I told you that whereas we are using data science in the field of business and finance, banking, and automobile, e-commerce, manufacturing, HR, employee attrition. In the HR field, we are using. So where in the education we are using. So everywhere we are using. There is very high business impact across all the domains, and it's like every company want to trying to implement this field in their domain. Okay, so that is on it, and moreover, the work is like very flexible. Any industry, yeah. And fourth one, so of course, like when it comes to the data science, maybe I want to ask you a simple question. So whether you are, I don't know whether you are in or not, but I will ask you a question. With the data science and AI is same or different? Anyone, please? Data science and artificial intelligence same or any difference? Could you please explain in small words? Whatever you know, just raise your voice. It may be wrong, I don't care. So not a issue.
Not same, sir. AI is different. Data science is different, sir.
What is the differentiation means? What is the difference?
AI is using the data. AI, AI is using data. Data science is only mine dot information had there in only data science.
Yeah,
Sir.
yes,
Only some information have in data science only. Using that information, use some decision making things that topic is belongs to AI, sir.
exactly. So as I told you, Ganesh, of course you are right. When it comes to data science, so there where in data science, we are simply uh, playing with the data using some of the statistical tools and etc and coming with the insights. Okay. And when it comes to the AI, artificial intelligence, it is quite different. But where in artificial intelligence, the data that we are using for training the model and the way that we are working and completely different. But it the it finally, data science is a foundation for the artificial intelligence. If you want to be in good with artificial intelligence, you need to be good with the data science. Okay, and that is the one thing I want to highlight. So of course, just now I told you. So wherein data science by using stats will be extracting the meaningful insights from the data. Okay, we can extract the meaningful insights from the data by using simple stats and simple approaches. But in order to get very good accuracy results, very good accurate results, and if you want to get a predictable results, okay, so for that reason we'll be using machine learning algorithms. If you remember yesterday, I taught you about what is the machine learning. Okay, so we'll be using some of the machine learning algorithms, and by using that algorithms, we are training our data in such a way that we are learning a pattern to the machine, and by using this pattern, we are predicting the futuristic results. So that is how we are using machine learning in the data science. And similarly, deep learning. When it comes to deep learning, so deep learning is mimics like a human brain. Simply how we are having the nerves and brain. Similarly, for the deep learning is also having the neural networks, hidden layers, and gradient descent, and etc. etc. Similarly, the deep learning is also works like a human brain. Okay, so by using deep learnings, we are trying to get more and more accurate results than the by using some traditional machine learning algorithms. Okay, so in such a way that so by using the deep learning also, we are trying to get the predictable results and for the futuristic use. Similarly, artificial intelligence. So everything is same. Like we're in artificial intelligence, we are having the technologies like machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision, and etc. etc. as discussed yesterday. So data science is nothing but the foundation of the AI and automation technologies. Okay, so that is one thing. And one more thing. So as Ganesh mentioned, is the booming. So yes, exactly the career path. So whereas in the field of data science and artificial intelligence, the career is very good, and I can say that the career will increase exponentially. Like it would be means uh, one thing I can say that if you take a CTC of a uh, domain of some ABC having some 10 LPA and compare with the same experience of the guy uh, in the domain of artificial intelligence, he may be having salary maybe sometimes a multiple of 3, 4, 5. I don't know exactly. It completely depends upon his technical skills. But obviously, the career path and what do you say, the growth and the cities and everything is very good in the field of artificial intelligence and data science. And most of the companies are trying to and willing to implement AI in their industries, and everyone is trying to leverage their current technologies with the artificial intelligence. Okay, why? Because so if you appoint a human, he may be do a human mistakes. It may comes to recall or rework. But if you are good with the or ML models and if you build very good model, then obviously it will give very good results than the human. Of course, we can't say that a machine is more good than human, but there are some of the scenarios where we can't, but machine can do some of the things when you are working on the large amount of data. So that is the one. That is the reason. So future is nothing but artificial intelligence. Even if you remember that government of Andhra Pradesh and government of Telangana, everywhere, like simply Indian government, they are investing. If you remember that we had a deal with different countries like US, UK, and whatever it may be, and in every deal they are using one word called artificial intelligence. So they are investing artificial intelligence means they are investing millions of rupees on artificial intelligence to make all the things very sustain and very good. And one more thing, so it is like a multi-discrepancy field. Like as I told you that wherein the data science is the ocean, so there we'll be using multiple technologies like statistics, mathematics, linear algebra, and machine learning algorithms, deep learning algorithms, and and also if you are working on any, for example, if you are working on the banking sector, okay, obviously you need to have some domain knowledge on the banking sector. Okay, if you have very good domain knowledge on the banking sector, then you can do more and more, you can come up with the more and more insights from the data. Of course, if you don't have the domain knowledge, you can do the work, but you won't give that much uh, accurate insights. But if you know the domain knowledge, you can do the miracles. Okay, and the storytelling. Obviously, if you want to explain what you did, so you won't give your code to the client, and you won't do like that generally. Will be the moreover the client won't understand the code. what we'll be doing that the time. So we'll be having a presentation, and you'll be giving a storytelling, like it would be like a storytelling to the client. So this is will be going to happen if you do this, so and so, etc., etc. And yeah, we are, as I told you that, so we are uh, leveraging all the technologies, and we are working on all the domains. So yeah, multidisciplinary field. So one thing, that is one thing I want to say. And moreover, so why Python for data science? The very next topic. Did anyone think that why Python for data science? If you remember, I taught you yesterday. I gave you one example. Anyone, please? Would anyone say why we need to use Python for data science?
Python is very easy to learn, sir. So we can use the in a data science.
Yeah. So when it comes to Python, of course, so we are saying that data science is nothing but the study of data science, and we'll be extracting meaningful insights for the business use case to increase the profits. We are saying like that. But in order to do the in order to uh, do the study of data, in order to do the extraction of the data, in order to do the wrangling of data, what it may be, we need to have a tool. We need to have some programmatic language. So we are not doing manually, as we are using some tool. And here we are using the Python as a tool for solving any data science problem statements. So basically, in order to learn the data science, obviously we need to have some basic coding knowledge. And for that reason, we are learning the Python. That is why we need to have the Python knowledge for data science. As mentioned, uh, it is easy to learn and use. That is a very first and foremost point I want to highlight. So that there are some of the programmatic languages like Java, C++, and there we have so many Ruby. We have so many languages are there. But the challenge that we are facing is, of course, I don't want to discriminate that, but the good point with the Python is it is very easy to learn and use. And to be say frankly, sometimes the syntax simply resembles the word general English. Okay, and I can say that for the developers, for the beginners, for the freshers, and who are stepping into the data science career path, and who are, I can suggest that, so first go through the Python language. So it is a very beginner friendly and everyone can understand. And but there is some of the skills that you need to improve, nothing more than that. So like you need to learn some of the syntaxes. Okay, then everything would be, of course, in the starting days you may face some difficulty, but in finally you'll be expert. Okay, and whereas the Python has having good number of libraries, of course, which we don't have in the Java and some of the other languages. The Python has like NumPy for the numerical computations, for pandas, for the data manipulation analysis, Matplotlib and Seaborn for data visualization, cycle learning for the machine learning, the framework library, TensorFlow or PyTorch framework for the deep learning. Okay, we have a good number of libraries and we have good number of modules in the Python that we'll be going to use in data science. Okay, that is also one of the reason. And community support. To be say frankly, whereas nowadays the Python is having the very large developer community. So if you search in the Stack Overflow, if you go GitHub, Kaggle, whatever it may be, irrespective of the, of course. So before you go into the course, I suggest everyone to create some of the accounts like GitHub, Kaggle. So we are having very good community. So a number of persons are there in the community, and they would be giving good, and there will be having very good resources, code and everything. And if you think about Stack Overflow, it is also one of the very good community for the developers. And we too have some open source contributions and tutorials forms and etc etc. And yeah, community support is one of the thing I want to highlight. And versatile and scalable. So as we are using this Python technology in the data engineering, automation, AI, and web development, and also we can easily integrate this with the some of the data platforms like Hadoop, Spark, and cloud services like AWS, GCP, and Azure. This is one thing. And we can support for, whereas by using this Python, we can support for different data of formats. Maybe sometimes the data is in the format of CSV, sometimes the data is in the Excel, sometimes it's in the JSON, SQL, and moreover, whatever the data format, the Python can accept, and it can extract the data from the respective formatted files. And great for rapid prototyping. So for the prototyping, like for testing of the models and for the pipelines. So we are using the uh, Python, widely used in the industries, like industries which comes under like ISRO, NASA, and also Google, Netflix, like Facebook, and even if I say some of the banking sectors like DBS, HDFC, and ICICI, and also if I say about the manufacturing like Tata Steel and Maruti Suzuki, Rob Bosch, so everyone using the, so of course in their respective field they are using the Python for the data science. So that is the why we need to have some idea on the Python or programming language. Similarly, R, why R for data science? Of course, R is also one of the programming language, but currently no one using. Of course, there are some of the statistical companies that are using, but not that much frequently we are using R in nowadays. But so we can, where we are using R means exactly. So we are using in R for the data analysis purpose, and for the data visualization purpose, like we have ggplot2 and plotty. And so we are using for, as I told you now, we are using for the statistical packages, data wrangling, reporting and dashboards, and for the academic and research usage. And there are some of the scenarios where we'll be using R. But don't worry about the R language. Currently, no one is using R much frequently. It is like just to have idea is a good, but don't go in depth. So yeah, I will be skipping this R. And finally, so why we need to have the SQL query language knowledge? Anyone please? Why we need to have the SQL knowledge for the data science?
To store the data, sir, which cannot be stored by manual.
Yeah, good point, Vaishnavi. So when comes to the, there are some of the scenarios we can't store our data in our local machine. Obviously, we need to have the data in certain places. Okay, there may be databases. It may be uh, the data may be some of the time the data may be in the structured format or unstructured format or semi-structured format or whatever it may be. We need to store the data in some way. So where we are storing the data, we'll be storing the data in the some of the relation databases and non-relation databases, what etc etc. So of course, when we are having the data in the databases, so in order to extract the data from the respective databases, we need to have some of the query language. So by using those respective queries, we are extracting the data. Of course, like we are importing the data to the databases and we are exporting the data to databases. We are doing these activities. Once we are importing the databases, and we'll be converting the respective database data into a data frame format by using pandas. And thereafter, we'll be applying a sort of data wrangling and data analysis techniques to make uh, to solve our data science problem statements. Okay, data access at the source and efficient data manipulation. So, whereas by using query language, we can use the we can allow filtering, sorting the data. We can join the multiple tables, and we can group the data as per our convenience, and we can do uh, a aggregation type of thing and whatever it may be on the large amount of data. Sometimes by using the simple Python language also, we can't do the uh, heavily aggressive, means heavily aggregate in the data and join the data, etc., etc. But by using a simple query language, we can do this type of things. And finally, if finally after having the data and after getting the data, we'll be using this data for the model training purpose. And the third one is scalability and performance. So uh, there are some of the scenarios it performs better than the spreadsheets. Like of course, what you say, we can store millions of records in the database, and by having simple queries, we can export and import the database. We export and import the files. That is the one. And the operation which is performs better than what we are doing in the spreadsheets. That is the scalability and performance. And where we can use this database data in the for ETL purpose and data pipelines. And yeah, so seamless. And we have very good the we have very good integration with the Python and R. By using Python and R directly, we can connect to the database by using MySQL connector, uh, or the some of the jar files, whatever it may be. We connect to the database and we can import and export the data. So whereas in the simple Jupyter notebooks and whatever it may be. Okay, so universally in demand skills, of course. So everywhere using whereas in the field of data science and AI, obviously we'll be using the databases, and obviously it will be having been so it will be having very demand in a skill. Of course, if you remember that Oracle, the persons would be doing the Oracle, working in the Oracle, and there are some of the persons that would be working on the SQL programmers. So we do have the jobs on the respective SQL programmers, but it is not that much frequent. So that is the reason we need to have some knowledge on the SQL queries. Okay, so I'll be going to talk about the SQL queries and how we'll be going to use uh, Python for connecting to the database, and how we'll be querying the and how we'll be extracting the data, having the by using the queries and etc. I will be going to that. No need to worry. And the statistics. So uh, yesterday, of course, everyone may be having a doubt. So no language means no domain like some Java, some Python programming language, and some .NET, whatever it may be. So there we were not using any stats and linear algebra. But why we are using stats, mathematics, linear algebra in the field of data science? Anyone could you please? Why we need to have knowledge on statistics? Anyone? Yeah,
It
let me tell
converts
you. Yeah,
it,
please go on. Anush. Please go on.
it converts large data into meaningful summary.
Exactly. Very good. Very valid point. Actually, this is so. It converts very large amount of data into a valid insights, valid information, valid description. Okay, we can, by using the statistics, we can describe the data, and we can come up with the information of the data, like what is the minimum point, what is the maximum point, what is the medium, what is the mean, what is the uh, median mode, and what is there any outlays in the data, is there any missing values in the data. By having the statistics and everything, we are doing this thing actually. So wherein statistics will be having descriptive stats, inferential stats, to drive the insights, to come across in meaningful insights from the data. Okay, wherein the descriptive statistics will be having the centroids and covariance, correlation testing, and F score, F1 score, Z score. We are having good number of approaches in the statistics. Okay, so simply by we are using statistics means to make the large amount of data into a meaningful insights. For meaningful insights, we'll be using the uh, for meaningful insights, like trying to know about the mean, median, max amount of data, and missing value. In order to find this type of scenarios, we'll be using the stats in simple words. And this is the foundation for the modeling. Like where in stats, we are having some. If you remember, we have PDF, probability density function, PDF, CDF, cumulative density function. To be frankly, based upon this distribution functions only, we are uh, we are we build the scientists build the this ML models. Okay, and model evaluation, of course. For model evaluation, like we did the model trained on the data, and it's giving the good results. How will you get to know that the model is giving the good results or not? How will you evaluate the model? So, like by using the stats only, we'll be trying to interpret the model evaluation. That is accuracy, or is there any bias, or is there any variance, or is there any error in the model. And decision making. There are some of the scenarios we'll be going for the statistical approach to come up with the uh, uh, how uh, how evidently you are saying that the model is working fine, something like that. To make the evidence-based decisions, we'll be using the statistical approaches some of the times, and also essential for the validation. Like we are having A/B testing, like just to compare the difference between, like we are having the a scenario like before changes and after changes. So in order to do the evaluation of the before and after changes, we are using some of the stats, which changes are affecting very more, before changes or after changes, in order to compare this type of thing, in order to evaluate, in order to validate this type of scenarios, we'll be going for the A/B testing. This is why we need to have knowledge on the statistics. And if you remember, yesterday I gave you one of the scenario, one of the example, that is the experience versus salary. If the person is having experience of 1, so he'll be getting a LPA of 10 LPA. If the person is having experience of 2, he would be getting a LPA of 20 LPA. If the person is experience of 3, he would be getting a LPA of 30 LPA. Similarly, 4, 40 LPA. If you plot a scatter plot having the future salary on y-axis, years of expense in x-axis, you may get a linear line. Okay, you may get a linear line. Similarly, so by using the statistics, I will this is by using the statistics only, I will be calculating this. So if you come up with the centroid, you may get the centroid as a 2.5 comma 25. And if you do the some mathematical approaches, you may get that for years of 5 years, you may get expected salary as a 50 LPA. Okay. Similarly, linear regression model. This is y equal to, if you know that b naught plus b1 x, b naught and b1 are the coefficients, and x is the independent variable. So let's take 0. B naught is a 0, and the slope would be 10. If you take the difference, that would be the slope, and the slope is at 10. The predicted value is 5. 5 into 10, 50. This is how we'll be predicting the 5 years of his salary, 50. This is how we'll be implementing. This is how we'll be using statistical uh, things in our ML models. Similarly, why we need to have knowledge on algebra, linear algebra, what it may be. So, in simple language, so here this is a when you are plotting a graph between the x and y, we are getting a line. What is line? Line is one of the part in the linear algebra. Could anyone explain me what is line and what is the formula of the line? Hello, hello.
A
Sir,
line has 2 points, starting point and ending point. So,
Yeah, very good. And what if you remember what is the equation for the line? It's like y equal to mx plus c, if you remember. So where we used to learn in the BTech's very first year, y equal to mx plus c. Y is the dependent variable. Here dependent variable is the salary, and x is the independent variable. Independent variable will be the years of experience. Like of course, uh, our salary is completely depends upon the years of experience. Okay, so that is the reason salary is a dependent variable, and years of experience would be the independent variable. And if you plot a graph, so my equation is y equal to mx. Let's take here the w would be the slope. Okay, weight is slope. Here I will be taking weight is at 10. Okay, 10 would be my slope. And if I calculate like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be my years of experience. And if I multiply my weight to the independent variables, obviously I'll be getting the dependent variables. Okay, na? For 1 year, 10, 2 years, 20, 3 years, 30, 4 years, 40, 5 years, 50. In such a way that we are predicting that for 5 years, we'll be getting a salary of 50 LPA. This is how in simple way we are using linear algebra for calculating any uh, scenarios, this type of examples. But if you are having two features, simply I can write a simple formula and I can say that so and so. Anyone can do that. Even of course, manually we can do that. But if you are having the 1,000 columns, okay, if you are having the 1,000 columns, it is not possible with the same formula. We need to have some enhancement of the formula. Okay, and we can't plot 1,000 features in a single 2D. We can't see the 1,000 dimensions first of all. Here we are having the 2 dimensions where we can see the 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions. Okay, of course, a human can visualize up to 3 dimensions only. If we are having the 1,000 dimensions, first of all, we can't imagine, we can't visualize. For that reason, so we are using this ML and AI techniques. So we are having multiple approaches. How can we how can we deal with the multiple dimensions? And in simple, if we are having the 2 dimensions, so we can see a simple uh, line. If you are having more than 3 dimensions, we can go for the plane. Okay, so at the time the equation would be quite different, and I will be going to thought in the further classes. And no need to worry. So when comes to stats and linear algebra, I'll be going to thought basics. You no need to be worry. Yeah. When it comes to data analysis, so why we need to have uh, knowledge on the data analysis for data science? If you remember that Ganesh told a point. So we'll be doing in order to get the insights from the data, we'll be doing a data manipulation, data wrangling, and we'll be doing a exploit data analysis. Okay, so yes, exactly. So in order to understand the pattern and in order to extract the patterns, in order to extract the trends from the data for the to make the decisions, we need to use the data analysis. So wherein the, of course, let's take I'm having the 10 dimensions, that is a 10 futures. Let's take a 10 columns of data. Okay, so in order to understand the data, so I'll be going with each and every column, and I will be trying to find out whether the uh, column A is a numerical column or a categorical column. If it is a numerical column, so is there any missing values? Is there any outliers? If it is a categorical column, is there any missing values? And is there any mode? What is the mode for the categorical column? And this is the I'll be trying to explore the data. So I'll be trying to explore the data, and I will be trying to know, and I will be trying to understand the data by using EDA. That we'll be doing in the data analysis part. And I will be the data analysis is the basic foundation for the model training. How good you do the pre-processing, or how good you do the data analysis, and how good you do the explore data analysis. So and how come you come up with the cleansed data or the pre-processed data? That is the data we'll be using for the model training. Okay, so based upon the how good the processed data, so then only we can get the more and more good predictable results of course after training the model. And so whereas in the data analysis part, we can go for the visualization. Sometimes by visualizing the data, we'll be getting to know that. So is the data is the normally distributed data, or is the data is what exactly how the data was? Is the data following any trends, like is the data following some any time sequence or not? Is the two columns are in a uh, linearly moving or not. So this type of analysis we'll be doing by using the data analysis, or simply by using the EDA, explore data analysis. And finally, why we need to use machine learning? Yeah, simple in the before 5 minutes itself, I just now told you that. So data science is a Asian. So in order to extract a meaningful insights from the data, we'll be using the data science for the business use case to get more profits. But in order to get the more and more accurate results, so in order to get the more and more predictable results, where we using the machine learning. This is a simple example. Okay, so where in the machine learning we'll be doing a predictive modeling. So by using the predictive modeling, we'll be forecasting the trends, and we'll be classifying the data, whether we'll be going to take the credit card or not, whether is the person is eligible for the loan or not, and to detect any anomalies and to find the clusters to group the data. So for this type of things, we'll be using the machine learning algorithms. It's a simple example so that I want to give. And so we can also go for the some of the recommendation, like if you go on scrolling the if you go to YouTube, and if you go on scrolling in the horror movies, it will recommend the horror movies in your watch list. And similarly, in the if you go to any e-commerce like Amazon, if you buy any new product like mobile phone, it will recommend you, and it will add you some of the products like pouch, earbuds, and earphones and headphones, something like that. In order to do this type of things, obviously we need to have the machine learning. Okay, so by using machine learning algorithms only, we are doing this activity. And moreover, I told you what is machine learning yesterday. So machine learning is nothing but, so we are learning a pattern to the machine, and by using the pattern, so we'll be predicting the results on the futuristic data. That is what machine learning is exactly. Okay, so we'll be going to start this machine learning and everything in the further classes. As I told you yesterday, so we're in the ML, we are having the multiple categories like supervisor, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So as per the situation and as per the problem statement, we are using the respective models or the categories, whether it is a classification or regression or the clustering or the dimension direction, whatever it may be. Similarly, deep learning. So how we are learning pattern to the machine. So that is in the machine learning. So similarly, whereas the deep learning, we are mimic and we are making the deep learning as a human brain in simple words. So for deep learning, we'll be using for to get a high accuracy than the traditional ML algorithms. And moreover, we are using deep learning algorithms when we are having the test data or the audio data or image data at the time, we'll be using mostly deep learning. And wherein deep learning will be having the neural networks like CNN, RNN, and ANN. And so, of course, whereas deep learning technologies like GPT models and we are using for example, let's take a chart GPT. So it is one of the GPT model. Chart GPT is a if we take a self-driving cars, wherein self-driving cars, automatic self-driving cars, so it is completely depends upon the artificial intelligence. There we are using the deep learning models only, simply AI. Deep learning is one of the cutting edge technique of artificial intelligence, nothing more than that. And computer vision. Why we need to learn the computer vision? By computer vision means uh, like a human can view the any visualization. Because a human can view any visualization by using his eyes, and by using his brain he can interpret what is the visualization is exactly. In a similar way, how can we do with the machine? That is the reason why computer vision comes into the picture. By using computer vision, we are monitoring the visualization by using CC cams and etc. etc. And by using the machine, okay, by using the machine, we are interpreting whether what is the visualization is exactly. So this is how the some of the implementations comes like facial recognition and drowsiness detection and also emotion detection. These are some of the implementations of the computer vision. Similarly, why NLP? Why natural language processing? So why means uh, a human. Let's take I'm there. So yesterday I gave an example that if you go to any restaurant, so after having your food and dishes, the waiter will come to you and he will be giving the bill, and and finally he will be asking about the feedback of the food, and you will be giving the feedback. Based upon the feedback, the management will be taking the actions to make it more and more uh, uh, accurate and good, so that he may earn the profits. That is in generally what happens. So here you are writing something, and the management can able to understand what you are writing, and based upon the feedback, he do the certain actions. But if you are having large amount of data, how management will read this type of things? So it is not possible, and it would be time taking in order to replace those type of things. So the why NLP comes into the picture here. That is the reason we are using NLP, natural language processing, whereas we are learning human readable language to the machine, so that the machine can take the human decisions in such a way that so it will be uh, taking the review of the feedback, and will be giving the predictions, or the will be giving the insights to the management, saying that you need to improve so and so food, in such a way that it will be giving the feedback to the management, and the management will be implementing the respective feedback to make the good profits. So this is why the natural language processing comes into the picture. And finally, anyone knows what is chatbot exactly? Chatbot. Does anyone knows what is chatbot?
It gives automatic replies whenever you're contacting chatbot. So instead of customer support, they use these chatbots, which is a pre-programmed and configured one.
Exactly. So exactly, chatbot is a 25/7 user support service. It is a simply mm, nowadays every company and even a small organization also, they are trying to implement the chatbot in their services. Why? Because the human won't give 24 by 7 service all the time. So for that, he may need to recruit the 2 to 3 persons. Like there would be shifts like 3 shifts, like morning, afternoon, and evening. So there are some of the scenarios we no need to have. There are some of the doubts. There are some of the common doubts everyone will used to ask at the time. Human no need to answer. If you implement the simple chartboard now, and if you give the dedicated answers for the chartboard, so if you ask any question, it will give the respective answer. So that is the reason nowadays most of the organizations, irrespective of the organization, they are using the chatbots or services. Even if you even if you see the chatbot services like Chester and of Chester is one of the chatbot service. There are multiple. Even the government of India also released the chatbot for the railway Indian railways and Siri or what I don't know, forget that name. So we have multiple chartboards and actually for the chartboards we integrated with the natural language processing and of course the backend would be the natural language processing and by using the this ML and DL concepts only we'll be implementing the chartboards. So these are some of the topics that I want to discuss and these are the topics that we'll be going to taught in the upcoming classes. So yeah, I think today I covered the topics uh, which will be going to thought in futuristic classes. Any doubts, team? Could you please speak up? And if you have any doubts, please raise your voice. And also, as I discussed yesterday, that we'll be going to be uh, give you the interview questions, and we'll be going to be give you the resume formats, and also we'll be going to be have the mock interviews, and we'll be going to start some of the live projects and etc. Uh, so if any further, you can approach the team. So just let me know if you have any doubts. Just raise your voice, and if you have any doubt, just ask the question and try to resolve the question. Yeah, team. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes. If any questions, please let us know. We'll try to answer those questions.